Firefly did not want to start for me. Firefly did not want to. Thinking every step of the way, thinking a lot the whole time. Really, really gnarly. I was like, is this thing gonna actually work? So hopefully it's not gonna be too glitchy. Hello, everyone. Hi. Let's see if I can see this guy. How are you sound far away? Oh, my mic is a little. Is that better? Hopefully that's better. Let me know if that's better. It is plugged in. Hey, Pat. Hopefully that's better. Yeah, let me know. That should be better. It is plugged in. Now I'm straight in front of my face. Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Don. Hello, Jeanette. Welcome to Hi. Hearts and hearts. Hello. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Spiritual Math Review Day. We had our first week of the Soul Quest program, and that's what we're doing here today with this show. And let me tell you guys, not easy getting here because I was outside in my bathtub, and it is perfection out there today. And oh my God, was it hard to get out of there? It was not a tornado. These can I come up with? But I'm here. Yeah. So nice, so beautiful. Oh my God. Trees all around, sun coming through, breeze, first bath of the year outside in my yard. Yesterday, I shoveled through the last foot and a half of snow that was still there for the blizzard. That all started February 2nd. And I shoveled so much that I got a blister. And it really hurt. I had no idea that was happening until it happened. Until after it happened. Honestly, oh,
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Oh yeah, don't have my. You're on my.
We can't hear Infiniti. We can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
No, you sound. It's very, very, very far away.
Still.
Yeah.
Huh.
And Vanessa said the same. So that's.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure what to do about that.
I know.
Yeah, this mic is plugged into the phone, like always.
Yeah, Jeanette's saying the same. She can't hear you either. And
Okay. Okay. Give me a minute.
okay.
That doesn't work then. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no, that worked.
That worked?
That worked for me. Yeah, that worked on my end. Vanessa and Jeanette, does that work for you guys?
You guys can hear me better?
I can.
You can?
Yeah, I can hear you better than what it was previously.
Okay, good. So it's fixed then?
Well, it's still kind of far away. I can't explain it. Well, Jeanette's giving a thumbs up. Yeah, it's better. It's still a little muffled, said Vanessa. It is. It's still a little bit muffled, but it's definitely better.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know. I mean, we tried it. I have, these are still far, but better. It's better. Okay. Is it good enough to continue or I don't know, or not?
Um, I think so.
Okay. So you guys can hear me, and
Yes.
it's okay. So you can hear me, and it's not so muffled that it's hard to understand what I'm saying.
No, not anymore.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna move that out of my
Yeah.
face again.
Jeanette said still far but better, and Vanessa says I think it's good enough to continue.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see that now. Okay. Okay. Then thanks for coming on and telling me that, sweetie.
You're welcome. I don't know how to get off.
Um.
Do I just put my name?
um. There you go. Okay. You're coming back though. But for now, there you go. Okay. So anyway, anyway, it doesn't matter what I was saying before. It doesn't matter. I'm glad we're here now. There has been some technical issues. There's been some technical issues. Like the one we just had, which is you guys couldn't hear me. Hopefully this is better. I don't understand why it's better with a Bluetooth than the actual mic going to the phone, but whatever. Um, so we are at in the current timeline here where we're at live. We just got out of our full moon in what was that, in Libra. We are today is what's today's date? The 11th. I've lost track. I don't know. Whatever it is. I got thrown off at one point. Okay, so it's the 10th. Okay, that's right. I got thrown off at one point, and I'm having a hard time recovering. Did that ever happen to you guys? You're like, oh, it's the 8th. No, it's the 9th. No, it's the 10th. It's like, well, then today's not, and then you're like messed up for days. Yeah, that happened to me the other day. It was so confusing, and ever since then, my brain is just not recalibrating. Hold for me 1 second, though, everybody, because I want to get on. Want to get on the live here on YouTube just in case. Hopefully, I can still check in. It's been so glitchy with the. Okay, so now we're on. I have YouTube up as well. All right, so I was saying earlier that I was in my bath, the first of my first outdoor bath of the season. It was absolutely amazing. I spent a lot of time. It's been very nice out. So I've been guided to spend as much as I can outside yesterday, the day before, today. And something that it came through today pretty strongly that I want to share with you all right off the top before I forget is to make sure your feet and the bottom, your soles of your feet get sunlight. It's a weird spot to get sunlight. You have to be very specific about putting sunlight on the bottom, on your entire feet, but the bottoms of your feet. That came through today. It was like it's as important as like grounding, putting your feet on the ground or in grass or any other kind of grounding practice that you have. I always like sunning my feet, but it came through very strongly today to really make it a point to, as much as you can, get some sunlight on the bottoms of your feet as much as you possibly can. Okay, so anyway, so back on track. So there's been a lot of energy coming in to help us with movement, to give us energy, to help us with our environments, with ourselves, just all that kind of stuff. I felt that very, very strongly, strong sense and urge to clean up and whatever. And I said this in the podcast. Hopefully, y'all have had time to listen to that. But whenever anybody does this in the future, when we're recording here, this soul quest and the time periods and everything and how everything is lining up is integrated into this soul quest. So it's not like it's irrelevant to talk about it, because when you get into doing this, chances are you're going to be feeling that energy to some degree, on top of whatever it is that you're feeling in the future or dealing with in the future whenever you do this, or redo this for that matter. Redo this. So last week we had our first release of our first map, the spiritual body map, and this is our review show for that map. So this is how we do it every single week. They get released and then you work on them, and then we come back and we review them. I asked that everybody that's going to be here to join me on stage. We can talk as a group, share as a group what your experience was. If you have any questions, revelations, stuck on anything that surprised you. I know that all of this is not the easiest stuff to talk about. Nobody's like super probably excited to talk about this stuff, but it is important to, in this type of setting, to open up, to share. And especially if you have questions, because chances are others have questions too. So with that said, ladies, and you are the only ones that are here, so you're just talking to each other at this point. Other people are not joining us, so it would just be all of us for now, anyway, and people on the replay. So hopefully this will respond. And I'll go through and invite you all to video and to come up on stage. And if you can join me, in the meantime, I'm going to go tell Pretty Boy, since you can do this, to be quiet, because I hear somebody's background noise.
Oh, it's me. There's a lot of people here today.
There's people there today. Is there someplace you can go that's quiet?
Probably upstairs. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because we can hear a lot of that. And then John, and then Jeanette. There we go. Oh, Pretty Boy got quiet on his own. Okay.
I'm there, but I don't see video. I don't know.
Let's see. Okay.
Hi, Jeanette. Hi, Vanessa. I see Jeanette. For some reason, my video, here it is.
Yeah, I just sent it to you again, so hopefully you can see that.
Jeanette, do you cut your hair again? I love that look on you.
Yes.
I
Oh,
love
yes.
it.
Wow.
Yes, I did.
Looks good, girl.
Sorry.
And if you, if any of you want to see the picture, see, our cameras, you just hit on any of the camera or any of the videos and it'll take up the whole screen. So let me grab my glasses here.
Jeanette,
Oh,
I
this
think
sounds like
that's
a
it.
video game. Are we good?
I hear a like.
Yeah, it sounds like a toy is on or something, or
So, yeah, I asked you to do this earlier. Sorry, my son doesn't listen to me when I speak to him. Let me just step off for a minute, and then when he's done, I'll come back in.
okay. No, it was just like trying to figure out what that was. No, she said, "Are
I
you
was
the
trying to
closet
mute it, but
now?"
I couldn't figure out how to do it.
And Vanessa, I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, Ken.
There. Yep. There we go.
I was just making sure that noise was not me.
There you go. No, it wasn't you. I had no idea what it was or where it was coming from. Okay, cool. All right, yay, we're here. Awesome. Okay, so first off, I like to go around and just ask you all what your overall experience was with the first map, the spiritual body. Vanessa, I'll start with you, my dear.
I thought it was very helpful. I will say that I wasn't shocked about anything that I came across because I'm always in my head thinking about everything. But what I did realize, I guess it became very clear. I kind of already knew that I'm a little bit scattered brain and I'm all over the place. I want to do so much and do everything that I try to do it all, and I'm not organized. There's no structure. I'm not consistent. Like, I want to talk to everyone. How do I do that? So that was like one of the questions that I had for you as, you do your day to day and you connect with whoever you connect with. I have like, I don't know, like let's say 10 beings that want to connect with me, right? I don't know where to start. So I need a little help there. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting. I really liked it. It kind of helped me focus. Like, one of the things I know and I've known since February is that I have to do shadow work, and I've been running from it purposely, and I've been aware. And it's mainly because I just needed some rest time. But I guess one of the questions that you had was, what am I most motivated about? I'm not motivated to do shadow work, but I'm feeling much more comfortable and ready to kind of do that. I know that that's definitely something I need to do next for the next stage to come through, for the new cycle to come through. So
Yeah, and that's actually in our next map that comes out tomorrow. So you don't have long to wait, my dear.
yeah. And okay, the craziest thing ever, guys. So first of all, the crow came out really loud. It wanted to help me. So it helped me through through these questions, and it's going to help me with all the other maps. But there's this whole big construction thing around my neighborhood, and we went to go check it out. And I found the crow's home. There must have been like 75 crows. It was insane.
Oh wow. Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So they're near you in spirit and near you in the physical as
Oh, they
well.
come visit me at my house very often. Yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and then I guess the other thing I wanted to share, I'm looking at my list here, is one of the things I've been having many dreams, and I've been getting messages through my dreams. And one of them is, because of the spiritual body is very closest to everything spiritual, right? It's very important to ensure that you protect yourself and you're constantly cleansing yourself. So that was also something that they wanted to highlight, make sure that I was doing. And I think that's about it.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for all of that. Um, so okay. So I have to remember all that you said.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. We talked. So you talked about how it came up for you in throughout the first map, the spiritual body map, that shadow work is something that that you've probably been avoiding a little bit, but is important for you to get to. And
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
I know I was gonna say I've been getting messages from all spirit animals and everything that I need to do it. And the dragons. Been very loud and clear.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's there's shadow work, and then there's connecting to your shadow side, and those are kind of two different things a little bit, and very different or very integrated in the same. Either way, both are very important. Yeah, both are very important to
Can
connect
you
with our shadow side and to well, there's shadow work on the shadow side, and I think that those get a bit tied up and confused.
Yeah, can you separate the two? Because the other
Yeah.
spirit animal that was loud and clear was a werewolf. So, which
Okay.
side of the table does that sit?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, like a traditional like monster werewolf you're talking about?
I don't know. Well, they
Not
were
a
in my
wolf, but
dreams.
a
No,
oh,
a
in your
werewolf.
okay. Well, I guess it would depend on the context there. But if that's okay, so let's just back up a little bit. Um, so your shadow side is like, for lack of a better way to put it, it's like your naughty side, your dark side, the side of you that laughs at the things that aren't, you're not supposed to laugh at, and stuff like that, the fantasies that you have in your head that can be a little extra deviant or naughty or even violent at times. That this is, we're human, so we have this shadow side of us. And what happens a lot of the time is that um especially through spiritual awakening, or even in our regular life, we're so fixated on being good and right and pious or whatever, that we deny everything about us that's in the shadow side, and we become out of balance. And when that happens, then you'll have explosions in anger or violence and things like that. Or people go way off the bend when they like try so hard to be nice. It's kind of like the idea of like Batman, like that kind of like, he's trying so hard to please and so hard to be nice, and people in like, and little by little just irritated until it flips, and it can be like really bad. So the best way to think about the shadow side is it's another aspect or duality to us. It's light and dark, and then we have masculine and feminine. Those four things, I should say, are interchangeable and in any direction. But in both instances, these are aspects of ourselves to consider, to acknowledge, and to keep it and try to keep us in balance. Now, shadow work is going back into the history books of your either current life or beyond, and dealing with pains and traumas and issues that happen there that were painful. So that's more shadow work, or even that could be tied up into just the whole, like, your whole childhood, depending on the person, really. So those are the two different things that can kind of, and they also can very much be connected and interwoven, your shadow side with shadow work, because maybe some of your shadow side got developed as you were a child, which most of us do to some degree. So it does connect like that. Does that help differentiate for you?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it would be the shadow work for me, cuz yeah. But I see what you mean.
Yeah, like it's important to acknowledge and to play with, for lack of a better term, your shadow side, to allow that shadow side to come up, to not shame it or judge it, as sometimes can happen. Like you you can, yeah, shame yourself for thinking or feeling a certain way that's more dark or shadowy, and that's not healthy for us either.
Yeah.
It's part of our human nature. And
I,
then the shadow work is definitely stuff that we would rather, it's like things that happen to us, events or relationships, experiences that imprinted on us, that left some type of bruise energetically, spiritually, emotionally, even after there was maybe something physically there that didn't get dealt with, that wasn't healed completely. And that is also tied into the cord cutting. Is if you do shadow work, you're going to find cords that need to be cut. They kind of go hand in hand
what
at
about,
the
I
same
feel like a lot of the work that I have to do or is more from like past lives, like karmic. So one of the ways I connect with my astrology is I've been working on my birth chart, and I come to realize, because I've had a really hard life, and it's because this is a very karmic life, and it's very loud and clear in my birth chart. So I really think
time.
it's about ancestral clearing, and making changing that all up, and it's a lot of that versus things that happened to me in this life. I feel like I have that more under control than what I don't even know exists, if that makes sense.
Well, a lot of the times they're tied together. So you have a
Okay.
lot of stuff to deal with in this lifetime because they're karmically tied to ancestral trauma. So what you can't bypass one to try to heal the other. You heal the ancestral line and the karmic line of trauma through healing this lifetime. So you can't, so what you just said doesn't make any sense, basically, is what I'm
Okay.
saying. Sorry. You
That's
can't just
okay.
be like, well, I know I had stuff in this lifetime, but I'm kind of, it doesn't really work that way. You have to, it is tied into this lifetime. And many of us in these timelines that are alive now and doing our work now have these types of massively stacked karmic things to deal with, because we're more conscious in these lifetimes, we're more capable in these
Yeah.
lifetimes of having a bigger um uh or a longer list to get through when it comes to healing um past this lifetime and into other lifetimes and into our ancestral line. But we really have to work, this lifetime and everything about it, and absolutely is the first thing to deal with here. um so if you're feeling that shadow work thing, and that's good because that's a whole level to get through, there's a lot to get through there,
I
then
know.
you have to start with this lifetime and all the cords that need to be cut in this lifetime. And then it'll open up, and you'll see with each time, with each recognition, with each one that you do, things will loosen up with the other stuff as well. But yeah, it has to be started with this one first.
Yeah.
And then now I've completely forgot which other things were.
Uh, I don't know if you had any comments about any the crows or the werewolf, or I had mentioned just being scattered with my practices and stuff
Right.
with connecting.
So when it comes to your scattered attention, that is really another thing that's quite common. I have that too, and that's another reason why I channeled this soul quest, is because I'm like, what? There's so many directions at this point that I can go in, and I just, need to understand, on different levels and about different things. It's not just in one way, it's in all sorts of different ways. And so, so for one thing, that's very common. Secondly is allow this time for you. I'm gonna say that I know I said this in a podcast or live or something for all of us. Allow this time of the soul quest, these 9 weeks, to just be where and how you are without trying to um, get yourself scheduled or regimented or routined or anything like that right now. This is about really observing yourself. So you've observed, okay, so far this is my experience. I'm kind of all over the place. I get pulled in these different directions. There isn't a set way of or routine or rituals that I do of connecting or doing any of this stuff. And you know what? That's all that it needs to be right now, and that's okay. And it's more about really dissecting for yourself, really observing for yourself. Even though all of these things may get your attention, what are the things that you find as time goes, as we move through this, that really that you look forward to, that you really enjoy doing, and just observe that for yourself without trying to force anything or make any decisions about anything or saying I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do that. And the scatteredness that you're feeling will shift and change as these weeks come into play, because with each map there's more questions and there's more direction and there's more highlighted and there's more that you notice, and so it'll shape it for you. Remember, each map builds the big map that's really going to help define things for you, so you can categorize things and you can regiment through there. And that's one of the purposes of this soul quest is to bring all that stuff up and out so you have direction in what you're doing from that point forward. This isn't the time to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think part of all this is also me trying to be in a flow, doing whatever I desire to do at the moment. But then I have a fear. And I guess maybe that's something that's, I guess, not shocking, but maybe it is. I don't know. The fear of forgetting. And so I make lists and I lose the lists and then I forget to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, do you have that problem?
Where do you
Does
make
anyone
your
have that
list?
problem?
The list
Where do
problem.
I?
Dawn can relate.
Yeah.
Where do you make your list, Vanessa?
Okay. The way that I'm scattered is how scattered my lists are. I have like 10 notebooks. And whatever notebook is closest is the one that I use. And then for me to go back, it's a mess.
Okay.
Don, you agree?
No, I have a few notebooks. I have a few journals.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, well, if I'm like, this will fit into this
Yes.
category, so I write in this journal. But wait a minute, no, this thought is more geared to astrology, so I'll write in that journal, and
Exactly.
that's yeah, exhausting.
Okay. I can see how that would be confusing. I think it's great that you're writing stuff down. I know Jeanette was nodding her head too. She's a journal note taker too. And maybe this is where I come in, because I definitely do it differently. If anything, I'm the opposite of that. Because I have found through the last 10 years, whatever, of doing my thing and constantly getting downloaded with stuff and having different things that I used to write stuff down, that I would misplace them. I wouldn't find them. I knew that I'd write stuff down here or there, and I'd have different binders for different categories. Very similar. It sounds very similar. And what I decided to do, to help to get it at least consolidated, was putting notes in my phone, because I always have my phone with me most of the time. And it also syncs to my computer. I have an iPhone, so I have a Mac, and so it syncs to my computer. But there's many different types of sorry, this is not telling me. Hold on a second. I swear I can't get away from the technical issues today.
Well, Fireside is always funky. Like, it
No.
took me forever to get on today.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't let me leave someone's show. And then they invited me to speak. I'm like, oh my God, how do I get out of here?
So funny. Yeah, all of a sudden this isn't charging. Oh, sorry, ladies. Hold on a second. Oh, actually, let me try plugging into the phone. Okay, there we go. I don't need the dongle. The dongle. I love that word, dongle. Okay, so yeah, okay, cool. So anyway, maybe try that. Try putting just notes in your phone, and then if you want to, then write them down in something. If you really got to write them down in a journal or a book or of some sort. But I find that just a note, like I just use the notes in my iPhone. It's nothing elaborate, but I find that once I started doing that, I got a lot more straight with the incoming guidance or channeling or ideas or whatever that was coming through. And now I don't ever write anything down as it comes through on paper or a pen ever.
Plus, it's easy to find, right?
It's worked for. It's very
The
easy to
search
find.
function.
Yeah, it's especially if you. Yeah, you have a search function, so I could be like, oh, what was that about? Metatron, blah 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 blah, and I type in Metatron, boom, everything that has Metatron in there populates with the dates and stuff, and it's just, and literally our phones are always with us, so it's convenient, it's organized, it's digital. Like I said, for me with my computer, just automatically syncs with both of them through the iCloud. So I would try that. If you're going to make any kind of change right now, try doing that. Then instead of, going for a notebook or a journal, go for your phone, and then do a note there.
Thank you for
As
that.
far as that goes. And then when it comes, you're welcome. You're welcome. I know it's a different kind of headspace. It was for me too, because I had index tabs and all the things, but I don't know. It wasn't always convenient. I wasn't around. I'd be like, oh, I got to remember to write that down. So I'd write it, and I found it I frustrated myself with it. So yeah. So anyway, I hope that helps for you. And then, in particularly the werewolf, I would say that it's very
Weird. I know. And it freaked me out at first.
No, not really, Little Red Riding Hood, not really. Just wants to visit her grandma. Not really. I mean, it's got the archetype. It's pretty on point. Like, big bad wolf is coming for. It's like that's kind of how you see shadow work is like It's like that's a big monster that I have to contend with. That's painful, that's going to hurt me, that's going to open up wounds. Nobody wants that. This is why we avoid shadow work. A lot of times that we avoid that because it is like the monster coming for you. It's very on point. It's not that weird at all, but it's to show you, like, does a werewolf really exist? Is it scarier in our mind always than what the reality is? Yeah.
Yeah. But so, yeah, in the dream, I wasn't scared of it. It kind of was like running after people, but it wasn't attacking people. It was just kind of making itself known, basically.
Wow.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good because it's like, yeah, I mean, you think about it, it does kind of have to run after people. It's like, I'm not going away. I mean, you can't outrun yourself. And this is yourself truly that you're thinking about. This is you. Your shadow work.
I'm the werewolf.
You're the werewolf. You are the thing that you're trying to hide from and are afraid of. That's the paradoxical thing about it. And that's why we will avoid that, because we know it very well. And that's
Dawn
a
has a
lot,
thought about
you
werewolves.
know?
No, no, just I think it's very symbolic. The whole that's
Yeah.
what we're doing. It's like yeah, it's very symbolic. I don't know
It's
how
a
to put it.
very clear archetype.
Yeah.
It's very clear. Yeah. Very, very clear. There's no, yeah. And but which is good, because it's, you can take a look at that. Yeah, look in the mirror. You're the werewolf, and then go, no, I'm not. There's not. I'm not. There really isn't anything to be afraid of here with
Yeah.
what's inside of me. It's just that it's been long buried deep, and I preferred it that way. It's better, we decide that's, it's easier that way. It's better that way. But
So
because that darkness is there, it's affecting our light. It's affecting our health. It's affecting our life force. It's affecting our magic and our efficiency and our creativity and our communication and everything about us when we don't deal with it, especially once it becomes clear that we must. So if you see it that way, just think about, it's about um it's about clearing out um dark, festering, nasty energy that just circulates and pulls in more of the same, and you deciding, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to clear that out completely, deal with it, see it, clear it out, make it nice and bright again, and then transmute that energy, and then it's done, and that's a really um empowering thing to take. It's you taking care of you seeing that for yourself, because nobody else can do it. And again, you can't outrun yourself. There's nowhere for you to go, you know? So it's something. And then just take it bit by bit. You don't have to, don't see the big mountain. See just little bits at a time. And, and yeah, and take your time with that. Just
Yeah.
marinate on it without
Oh, I've
actually
been for
feeling
the
like
last 2 months. I think I'm ready to go in. I
good,
just don't want to be alone.
good.
Oh, yes, sorry, Don, what were you going to say?
no, I just want to add to that if that's okay. And if I'm off
Yes.
base, please say so, Infinity. But
Yeah,
to me, I've always
absolutely.
thought shadow work is literally bringing what's in the shadows into the light,
Right.
and like almost transforming it with love.
Yeah.
So, and knowing, and I think the most important thing about shadow work is having faith in the light and knowing that the light is, things are, once things come to the light, they can be transmuted and dealt with, and is, yeah, with that faith. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So no matter how difficult shadow work gets, remember the light's always got your back. That,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah. And I would say that's coming up, and I know that you've done it before, Vanessa, but this is for anybody who's looking to do shadow work, to go back into childhood, back into nurturing your inner child and healing past wounds. And however, there is a spirit walk on my website. It's under the channeled spirit walks, and there is the rebirthing your inner child one. That is a great one. You've done it before, right, Vanessa?
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is. So I, recommend doing it again as you're gearing up for shadow work, or to do that for the first time if anybody has not done that. A lot of people tend to forget a lot of the details in that one specifically, and I think it's because the nature of the unknown of what it's going to be. more than more than anything specific. So just an FYI on that. If that does happen to you, then to listen back to it out of the meditative state, and that might help realign what happened for you. It's just one of those. There's a couple of them that do that, and that tends to be one that does it consistently with people. They'll be like, I remember a couple of things, but I don't remember anything. And I have heard that a lot of times with my clients about that one. It's really interesting. But anyway, okay, well, jump in again if you think of anything, my dear Vanessa. Okay?
Yes,
Okay.
sounds good. Thank you.
All righty. Do I have any volunteers to go next? Either Dawn or Jeanette. Who wants to go?
Girl, Dawn can go.
I was going to say,
I volunteer, Dawn.
so as we were having this conversation, I'm going through my map, and I'm realizing that a lot of what I answered in this does have to do with shadow work, and I didn't actually realize. Yeah, I didn't actually realize that now. I'm glad that this conversation came up. It's helping me with my answers and where I was coming from. Yeah, I've done a lot of shadow work. You know that, and
Yeah.
yeah, like. But when the topic that I want to dive more into is my astrology birth chart. Even though I've done it and had it read, I think that there's a lot more to be found out.
It's like never ending.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's a lot there for sure. But
yeah.
But and what's really cool about that, and I'm the same way, I feel the same way, for me personally and just generally speaking, that there's no one right way to go about getting into your astrology more, which I think
Right.
is cool as well. Just the fact that we want to and that we're going to put forth, some energy to make that happen in whatever way we're meant to, I think is, for right now, it's a good thing
I
to
I already do it
focus
for
in on.
people. Well, friends. I've done it for friends. And it's funny because actually this weekend I was at a party and the girl who is hosting, I did it for her last year. And she went around telling the whole party that I said that she was selfish. I said, I didn't say that. I said, your North Node,
Oh my
you're meant to build relationships with people and not think about just yourself. But yeah.
That's
Anyway,
hilarious. Okay, and what else, Don, besides your astrology, besides that coming up for you, or was there anything more
Um,
about the astrology?
I think that that question was about that spiritual topic that I want to learn more about. That was how I answered that one. Interesting that you brought up, my spirit animal came up today as well. I was outside and a hawk was sitting in the tree. I heard it, and I went and looked, and I found there was a hawk up in the tree, and I was like, I thought it was great
That's
to see
awesome.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Um,
Did you write about the hawk in your map?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Wasn't
So
sure if that's
yeah,
what you were saying.
no, just that I didn't take complete note. I was just like, oh, it was a hawk. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Today is a good day for hawk to visit.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
um, what else? What was the,
Well, no, if there was like something else, and from your review page, or there was another something else that that you wanted to wait. I saw your lips move, but I didn't hear you. Dawn.
me? No. Oh, maybe I was mumbling to myself probably.
Oh, okay. That was weird. I couldn't tell if it cut out the audio or what was going on.
can I
Ah,
share something? I know that Don brought up astrology. One of the things that I found very interesting, and maybe you guys might too, is the progressive moon is something that I've been reading up on, and how, depending on what that is for 2.5 years, the skin that is in will kind of influence the things that you do those 2.5 years, the way you look, the way you act, the way you do things, and then it shifts over to the next sign and the next sign and the next sign. Is that something that you
Okay.
guys are familiar with?
No. Mm-mm. Have not been guided to that before.
Okay.
No. Mostly it's been just um working with the yeah, with like moon cycles, month to month, new moons, full moons, things like that, and how the different either planets or signs work with the moon, um, that sort of thing. But no,
Um,
that sounds kind of interesting though. But yeah, go ahead,
I
Don.
yeah, I'm looking for the actual. I have. Oh, one of the questions was, when it comes to my spirituality, I've grown the most in these ways, and for me, over the past year, it's been having faith in the light, and then um, how do I don't know how to actually word this. I'm just going to say, and then maybe you can clarify, is working with timelines. And it's been amazing to me. And sometimes I think I'm more connected to my soul than I actually realize. Like, that's my overall
It's been
thing,
more connected to your what?
to my soul, than I sometimes,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I said, I think, that sometimes when I think too much, that is the problem. So I'm looking forward to doing these next map. I think that one's going to be a lot more challenging for me than this one was.
Yeah, the mental map is definitely going to be more challenging for all of us across the board because it's going to really force us to look at what we think about
Yeah.
and how much and in what ways and all of that. Yeah.
And then I think the only other thing I would want to say is, I wrote it down, but I'm enjoying and looking forward to and excited about this part of my life, like being um, awakened and coming at life from that perspective, as
Yeah.
opposed to, yeah, it changes everything and nothing, but it does. No, it does. It
Yeah.
changes everything.
No, yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
And how did it feel for you to get into the spiritual body from the very get go? And 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 then maybe even talk about, if you can, a little bit about the spirit walk and your different experience with that.
Oh, um, yeah. The spirit walk was interesting. The first, I did it twice. I have my notes on that. The first one, I was I had a block. So for, um, in actually connecting to my soul, and it was, in the beginning of the spirit walk, you had said to try and stay with you as much as possible and go back and listen. And I found that I was not staying with you. I was, I needed to revisit something from my past. And this one was in this life, my current incarnation. And so I did some work about something from back when I was 14 years old. And
Mhm.
then I redid the spirit walk, and it was a totally different experience. The block that was there was gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and how did you feel that like tied in with the map?
Um,
Like, did it, like, as far as you being able to, like, because it's all, they're like big parts of the whole, but it seemed like when you had mentioned it before that it was, that there was
Go ahead.
something there.
You can you can say whatever you want. I'm not sure how to answer that.
Oh no, okay, no, it wasn't, no, they're not like anything specific. I don't have my mind on anything
Oh, okay.
specific. No, no, it's not like that at all. It was just kind of more, I just vaguely remember there was, maybe, I could be mistaken, but there was something about, like, I think when you said the other day, because you had told me that you had done, that you had done it again, and that, um well, there was a lot of other things that were intertwined in that too, so
Yeah.
without getting too far out, but I guess it's
So,
more, well, when you said what you were talking about, your two different experiences, like, you, basically, you doing this spiritual map, you having this recollection of this thing, that this time period or whatever, this thing that happened when you were younger, and then, um after you worked through that, then you could go back and do this new spirit walk and have a completely different experience there,
mhm.
right? And then
Yes.
not feel that block anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
that's awesome. That's really awesome. Okay, and then, so is there, do you feel that, as far as being blocked generally, that that was maybe not all of it, but a large part of it for you,
Um, I feel like I
or a
am,
piece of it anyway?
it is a piece of it, and I am so surely working through a lot
Yeah.
of karma. I guess, is that the best way to put it? Uh
Um, it
no.
depends on what you mean exactly.
Um oh gosh. I don't know how to say this.
I mean, it
Um
seems like it's multi. It's not just this lifetime. It's not.
right.
It's
Yeah.
past stuff too. It's all looping together, and you're able to
Yeah.
kind of
I'm
piece it all
realizing,
together.
yeah, and so I'm going to try and sum it up by saying that in working with, in tapping into co-current past, however you want to look at it, lives, I have been able to heal situations that happened in that timeline now, and feel actually feel the shift in my, in all of the time, like in all of my timelines, to a higher, you can you
No,
can
go with
explain
that.
it
No,
more.
no, no. You got it. You got it.
Okay. Yeah.
You got it. I mean, I know it's kind of a mind knot, but you got it there. I mean, basically, what you're saying is that you're able to connect all these dots, and when you're healing in this timeline, you're seeing and you're feeling the ramifications of that healing in these other timelines.
In the other timelines, yes. And Vanessa, just if I can say too, there are some big things that happened in other lives, co-current past, however you want to look at it, lives, that really were affecting me here now. And because I feel like I'm in a much, like, that I'm not sleeping anymore and I'm awake and I'm doing the healing on myself here now, I'm healing then as well. Very much so. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, I feel lighter. I feel, yeah, it's pretty amazing. I haven't gone into this because I don't know that I can, but it's been just, amazing work. And
Yeah, I'll speak for you a little vaguely, but it's been kind of like Dawn has had a what just happened? Oh, this went out. Oh shoot. I'm like, where did my light go? Oh no, did that run out? Okay, hold on a second, funny lady. Sorry. It has issues. Issues. Um
like being intentional in wanting to heal from that, it's made, I don't know how to explain what I mean. I'm going to let Infinity try and explain because my words, I fumble with my words. You guys so much. I know
okay,
what I mean.
so she's had these kind of looks at other lifetimes where there were these really pivotal moments that have let's just, for lack of a better term, had a lot of shadow around them, a lot of darkness, and she carried that. She didn't know it, but then she saw those, and had been aware of these things for quite some time. But that they affected her in this lifetime. But that was the beginning and the end of it. You're aware, but it stayed where it was. And then what you've been able to do through recent work is make breakthroughs in this lifetime, which then you can see astrally when you do spirit walks. When you're in astral, you can see the difference in that timeline in another lifetime. That's been rectified there as well as here. Does
Can I
that
ask a
sound bad?
question? So, do
Sure.
you mean when you go into meditation and you astral travel, you purposely go into specific time periods and then that's how you're able to see it? Or
There, oh gosh, how do I even explain this? It's actually, yeah. And, is it,
Well, it's
maybe
not
you're a
like
time
she
traveler?
decides. It's not. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it is time traveling, but it's not like it's like what happens when we awaken in these things, especially if they're really, really um like pivotal and important um, healings that need to be done when we go into certain states of mind, whether it is helped by a psychedelic or it's in a spirit walk or whatever, in a dream, however this that we are connected to that awareness, it becomes it's it becomes a portal that we can then access again and again. So she's been able to go and access that repeatedly and be aware of it repeatedly. And so when she starts doing this mapping work and this soul connections, she's had this problem with connecting with her soul. There's always been this like block there. She's always like very difficult to get there for her, which she's aware of, but at the same time has an understanding because she's seen these other timelines, but there wasn't, much to do about. She couldn't get past it. And in the last several months, there's been bit by bit, but especially, most recently, there was this awareness to this event that happened in this timeline that kind of made things go full circle for her. And so when she did work consciously in this timeline, it kind of like undid all the knots everywhere else and freed up a lot of this energy.
yeah.
Okay, so like the things that would trip it up in this lifetime is now clean, so therefore you're not meeting that bumpy road. Everything's much smoother. That's what you're okay.
So
Okay.
I can sum it up as well by this way. I always thought that I was something like that. I was born broken. I don't, if that makes any sort of,
No, because you're not broken. You look
no,
perfect.
thank you. But I didn't believe that for the longest time. And I found out and realized why I felt that way. And I was able to, um, change it. I did, like, I literally was able to, all, is it all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
your consciousness in this lifetime was able to connect to that other lifetime and change the events in that other lifetime.
Oh,
So
wow.
then healing that lifetime healed her in this lifetime. And then all the other lifetimes that we're connected to it that are in the background, that she feels that as well.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, when you said that, when you said I always felt like I was broken, I felt chills all over my body. Wow, that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that helped. That's like helped her, like she could really see, because I talk about this kind of stuff in the abstract, and then she was able to actually do it, and then she was like, oh my god, now I get what you're talking about. Like when you can access these other parts of you and be really conscious of how that ties into this aspect of you, and then consciously heal both at the same time, it's this massive loop
Yeah.
of energy that gets transmuted on both sides of your soul story, incarnation loop, however you want to put it. And it is in effect time traveling and energy work through the quantum field in a different dimension. It's like, it's wild, but it's definitely a thing, and it definitely works. And it's beyond healing ourselves in this lifetime. It's being conscious of our web of life and our infinite soul, and how it's so important to consciously see those aspects of ourselves and be able to heal beyond this lifetime, for maximum effectiveness when it comes to bringing in the light.
Yeah.
Because you're going to as many layers as you possibly know of to even go to. I mean, that's so above and beyond what most people would even think about, understanding, because Dawn, you had previously been given that view. You could then go back and go, oh, this totally ties in. And now that I see this, it's this bird's eye perspective of all the moving pieces. And then just, not just healing and dealing and cleaning up this aspect, but it's seeing them all and taking them, changing the board effectively by that awareness. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. Pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing all of that. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Jeanette, it's your turn, my dear.
I don't know how to top those stories, but
No, that's fine.
I'm the baby here, the newbie, the baby, the starting out.
That's okay. No, that's okay.
No, that's fine. I am where I
However
am,
works
and
out.
that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
much better than I was a
Yeah.
year ago. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yes. So tell
So,
me. So how was this spiritual map for you?
there's a lot of stuff I didn't even
Spiritual
answer
body map,
because
I should say. Sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
stuff I didn't even answer because I wasn't even sure how to like. I think I just need to work on it more, or maybe it'll come to me. But see, I'm not. I guess that's my block. I'm not there yet, so I'm not. I want to hear messages and I want to get connected. I don't have 10 people knocking on my door wanting to come in and not I know how to let them in. And I don't, and it's fine, but I, I wouldn't even know who other than my guardian angel and archangel. I don't know because I'm just starting out and I'm just learning and
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, it took me a really long time to get here. Meaning I know exactly what you mean, So
Yeah,
but,
me
but
too. I didn't
I'm
know who was
fine.
who. I didn't know who was all different talks that connected to me at first. It was all one big group,
Yeah.
honestly, for the longest time.
And
And that's fine. It's just I don't even like, if example. And then Infinity, I have talked about this many times, like connect, talk to you. And she talks about it too a lot in the lives. Talk to your guardian angel. Okay, yeah, I can talk, but it's kind of weird because okay, I'm not hearing anything. I'm not hearing anything, or is it my imagination? Or sometimes like a thought comes to me. Is it me? Is it my guardian angel? Or is it somebody? Is it my intuition, or is it like it's hard for me to know, or even sometimes even remember? Like, yeah, I'll wake up and okay, I'll do my meditation and okay, I connect, and then the day, life happens, work and
Yeah.
stress and focus, and you forget until, oh, okay, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's easy to forget. And to answer your question, at first there may be nothing back. It's just you kind of putting, statements and questions out there. And then because you have to think about it at first before things are really established with your guardian angel or any guide or guardian for that matter. But your guardian angel, it's kind of like you have a thick wall between you, and stuff coming this way or that way, especially when you're conscious and you're ready for it, may not seem like there really is anything there when you are paying attention. Um, but the trick is to keep doing is to remind yourself, like just as a habit, just to talk to your guardian angel and not really necessarily expecting much back. And because I guess, excuse me, kind of the expectation of it, or the anticipation of it, kind of makes things, I think, a little tense and drags it out. So if you just kind of go, I am just going to talk to you and ask you questions and just observe my life and observe what comes to me and be committed to just continuing to have it go out. If you do that, it doesn't take that consistently. It doesn't take that long before you do start to feel and hear and another an, another being that's not your ideas. It's not you talking to yourself, because there's a difference between you talking to yourself, like we all do. We all talk to ourselves out loud and in our heads. But the difference is when we're receiving from our guardian angel or anybody else, it's a thought independent of us. Just like just like me talking to you and saying something to you, that's outside of you, but you're receiving it. It's just, and you may hear it as a voice, you may hear it or more like feel an idea more than hear a voice. It really kind of depends. And it is wrapped into your intuition. That's kind of the covert way that guardian angels work with us when, we're not really aware. It is our intuition. It is our sixth sense and what we're feeling. That is a lot of what they're impressing, their beingness, their awareness, their whatever, however you want to put it, is filtered through our intuition, because that's the way we're used to perceiving things when they have a decent amount of their magic in that pie, in that intuition pie. It's when we become more conscious that we start to separate and go, oh, like I realized, like, oh, that wasn't, like, I always felt like there's a difference between like me just having like an innate kind of intuitive thought and then like this other thing that comes in. I used to call it, back in the day when I didn't say I was guided or I could, like that, because I wasn't aware. I just felt like I was impressed. Like there was this impressed upon feeling that I should this or shouldn't that, and or I, things would come in from outside of me. And it was more of a overall feeling and sensation of, don't go that way or do this thing, than an actual voice coming through, a conversation happening. That took a bit longer. But I realized that what I had to do was be the initiator of this communication, of this relationship, from my perspective, so I could receive from that open line that I created. And that goes for all of them. But starting with your guardian angel is like the easiest one, because the road is already paved for it, if that makes sense. And to just get on and start driving it rather than having to build a road. Like your guardian angel is, boom, it's built in. So if anything, I mean, I would say with that, when it comes to that, just kind of think like, okay, I'm just going to do output. I'm just going to put it out there and talk and ask questions and or pray or ask for my miracles or my wishes and whatever it is, however that it is. But it's also remember the little things. I'm hungry. What should I eat? Guardian angel. What should I eat? You open up the, like to me, like I know I talk about that a lot because it's such an easy thing, and they can really help you with like the practical everyday stuff too. And that's the stuff that you can think about and talk about that doesn't require you to carve out time or put it on the schedule or get a babysitter for. It's happening all day long, right? Like, what street should I go down? Should I make my appointment for 12:30 or 1? Like, should I have the, this or that? Or, you know what I mean? This is the everyday practical stuff that we have to think about and make choices about and decide on all the time, that we feel like we're alone in these little micro decisions that that are important to some degree in the whole scheme of things, all these smaller things. And that's where I realized, like, oh, I can take that burden off myself too and go to my guardian angel with this dumb shit. Yeah, that's what they're there for. They're like, it's not just the miracle stuff. It's not just the big stuff. We help you with all of it, all of it, all of it. We're here to just, give us your questions, your burdens, your confusions. Just let's talk it out. Just give it to me. Like that's their state of being. And when you commit to just doing that, you'll see that things start to thin out and become more clear. But yes, if you can tap into that receiving through your intuition, that's the perfect place to start or to,
Can I
jump from.
can I add
Yeah.
something? One of the things that I used to do in the beginning when I couldn't hear is I would ask, "Can you speak louder? I can't hear you." And that actually helped a lot. So, just a
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Ask for what you need. Like, it's not clear. Can you give me another way to understand this, or make it clearer, or be louder about it, or you just say, I don't understand. Like, if you feel like things are trying to come through in different ways, then ask for more, clear direction or clear guidance. That's a really good point,
So,
Vanessa.
yeah, like like you might think you can't you might think they're not talking to you, but they are. You just can't hear them. So if you
Right.
tell them, "Please," yeah,
Yeah, that's
that's
part.
yeah.
Yeah.
We can work here.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, that's the thing I'm saying. It's like there's this thick wall, and and while they've been communicating through your intuition and through all sorts of ways your whole life, and you just don't recognize it, that's part of it. Um, that I think a lot of people. I think that's just kind of the comedy in that. It's like whether people do or don't believe in guardian angels, they are receiving from them and they are communicating. It's just not conscious. So the difference is to turn it to a conscious relationship and communication that becomes, now I have to, conscious means thinking about it. Now I'm actually thinking about it versus it's just happening. And so it's a complete different like machine that you have to tap into and be very specific. It's just like anything else. Like I'm going to do this workout to get this um, result. It's very much the same. It's got to be worked out. It's got to be, the muscles need to be cultivated. And that's why I always say, don't say you're not psychic or you can't channel or you're not a medium or any of those things. It's just not yet. While there's
Not
still a
yet.
lot
No,
of
I know it's not yet. I'm very
yeah,
clear that it's not yet. I'm not. I'm just
yeah,
saying because yeah, a lot of stuff I'm like, I don't know.
yeah. And when it comes to the other questions and stuff, there is no, like, just remember, there's no right answer. It's whatever the truth is. So if
Right.
you're like, well, this is all I have right now, then that's what it is. That's there. That's it. So answer the questions as I guess honestly as reality has
Mm-hmm.
it for you. And then you can always go back and like, you're like, okay, well, right now I'm reading this and maybe I'm taking it too literally or I'm thinking that, but this is my answer, and then answer it. And then if you feel like I'm not getting that or that wasn't sufficient, then circle back to it. And remember, any of these maps are gonna there will be questions that are way harder to answer than other ones for sure, and you can make, and as we move forward, there may be that 3 or 4 or 5 questions per map or 2 questions per map, whatever, that are still kind of lingering. But as you move forward, you may be able to go back then, and then it'll help you, kind of circle back to answer those questions. But for the ones that you were able to answer, was there any, I guess, surprises or revelations or anything that popped up for you that I guess was
surprises?
enlightening on some level?
Huh?
That was like enlightening for you on some level of where you're at with your spiritual body?
No, I mean, I do want to say that I also did the spirit walk 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I actually wanted to kind of bring up, because again, this is even opening up the third eye. It's all new and just starting
Yeah.
to. So, like when I did it this morning, because I guess in my mind I kind of was like, I wasn't blowing it off, but I was like, okay, like waiting for the time that I had to myself, because I've been having a hard time waking up in the morning early because I've been very, very tired. But anyways, the last few mornings I have, and but anyway, so I've been closing my eyes and I've been seeing visions and I've been seeing lights and I've been seeing shapes and different things that I hadn't before. And then in doing the spirit work and trying to, because I'm like seeing this when I close my eyes, but then I'm trying to visualize at the same time. It's weird. Like on the side, the timelines and walking through the golden path and well, I'm not giving away the meditation. Sorry.
Okay.
Keep going.
But I was trying to, do the spirit walk and going through the things, trying to like concentrate on seeing that, but then at the same time, like trying to either see comes out in my vision, but other things coming up. It's just weird. Like, how do you kind of manage when you're like still at the same time you're kind of doing both things?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have something to add to that, Dawn?
No, I understand exactly what you're talking about, Jeanette.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is sometimes how I find myself wandering off. So
Yeah. Remember how she said, like, I didn't stay with you? Because I've had, I mean, it's like juggling. It is
yeah,
literally like juggling, because you're like on this ride that that you're following and I'm channeling it. So I'm also on the ride too in real time. And then other things are coming in, which is they're supposed to. So it's really about kind of separating your awareness into, I'm here and this is happening and these things are coming in, whatever that they may be, to pay attention to them, take note of them, and then decide, is this something for me to just like to integrate into this experience, or to just observe for the moment, and like kind of like if you're traveling on a car, like, oh, look at that building, go, as you're traveling, like, oh, that's interesting, and then it just kind of flies by? Or are you like, oh no, I'm supposed to go into that building? Like, you kind of have to see for yourself in the moment. The general idea, though, is when you're doing a spirit walk, is like to stay in the ride and not to veer off too much. And because that, if it's kind of a chronic thing, then there's some avoidance there. It could be like, oh, you're afraid to go into the unknown, because then people have that issue as well.
Oh no, it was beautiful. I loved it. I mean,
yeah.
I went back and I rewinded a little bit a couple of times just to like hear it again. Even this morning after I did, I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna go halfway and I'm gonna still listen to it. Was really
good.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I would just say, as your third eye is opening, you're starting to see maybe shapes or colors or figures
Yeah,
or
colors and
faces
people
or
and faces and
wormholes or who knows what.
scenes. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
I
that's
didn't take
great because
mushroom.
what'd you say?
And I didn't take the mushroom.
And you didn't take the mushroom? Yeah, I was going to ask you.
yeah,
Yeah. And
no,
then, and then
the,
Not this morning, no, because yeah.
yeah, no, these astral spirit walks definitely take you there on their own.
Hmm.
yeah.
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 Um, and just to add a little bit, maybe, or in like you mentioned the path. So I found that sometimes I was on the path, like, and I could see the path, but other times, I was watching myself walk on the path as opposed to walking it. Like it was almost coming into different perspectives of the same thing and all at once. It's like, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes in a spirit walk, we'll be guided to do that. You're sitting there now, see yourself from the outside in, and now move out to like where Venus is, and then look at guy like we're taken to these different, to kind of work that muscle to show us how we can move from here to there really
Hmm.
quickly. From
Yeah.
inside, like seeing from the first part here, or observing ourselves from another, like looking at ourselves, like so, I mean, that's something that's obviously we don't get to do that in this dimension at all,
Right.
And so in that space, like our third eye and our crown chakra, kind of, the machine starts up and it starts, and the more we do it, the more we see like, oh, wow, like I can really like move up and down and all of the, not only that, but timelines and spaces as well. So anyway, Jeanette, congratulations on, getting more of the visuals. Just, I would say the biggest piece of advice would be not to judge any of it, not to kind of try to suppress any of it. Just go with what you're doing and kind of check in with where you're at. If you do need to, if you get kind of lost in your own thing for a little bit and you realize, oh, I haven't been listening to where I'm supposed to be, then yeah, rewind it like you did. And because you're just, it's opening up for you right now, it sounds like. And so that's, like I said, just you're learning how to juggle it. So you've got some training wheels to deal with for a little bit, but it won't take long before you're gonna get the hang of it. Because at first it is a little disorienting and you're like, well, where am I supposed to
What are,
pay attention to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was telling Don not too long ago, I'm like, I don't know really. Like, I split my, like, I'm channeling, I'm seeing stuff, I'm in
yes.
my own, like, I don't know how I do all that and juggle all of that the way that, I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all. Each one is his own thing, but somehow I've learned that I can have that all in one space. Um, and it didn't start off that way either. So that, again, that's just something that we just get better and better at. It's just kind of like bodybuilders can just, pump more weight. After a while, you can handle, you can juggle more, you can visualize more, you can be here and you can see all that at the same time and really split your perspective. Sometimes in a 4, I've done a max of 5 before. Um, but I regularly I do 4. So so you go from that 1 to 2 to 3, and you really can feather that out or whatever, accordion that out to be able to be in those separate um um, awareness perspectives, however we want to do it at the same time. It just takes practice and you being like, oh, I'm doing this now. Okay. like, like one of those things. Um, okay. And then, was there anything else for you, Jeanette? Anything else that came up for you, or any other questions about the questions that you had a hard time answering? Because it wasn't like, I just want to be clear. It wasn't like there, like, anybody, it's like anybody at any level of where you're at with any of those things, it's about you now, and not like, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but there's no like you have to be at a certain place advanced,
Right.
in or at all.
No, I got it. I got it.
Okay.
And I did
Um,
choose some cards this morning that did some really good affirmations for the the psychic abilities and all that stuff, and the being in the right path, and the divine guidance. And I'm like, I pull one card and then I come back. I'm like, there's two on the floor. I'm like, oh, where did those come from?
oh,
So
funny.
they just kind of
That's
validated.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, I would say, just if you can, try to go back and just, like I said, there is no right answer. So just answer it however, you feel or the truth is right now. And whatever that is, it is, because that's going to help you see where you're at and where you want to go as you move forward. Um, and where, kind of where the themes are of
Yeah.
things.
Like, for example, okay, so I want to grow in my psychic abilities in these ways.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what way. I don't know how. I don't know how to
Well,
grow my psychic abilities. Yeah, like,
that would be, it's very open ended. So it's like, okay, so your psychic abilities are tied into your, obviously the spiritual body and how you perceive and how you connect through that. So it would be like your, um, the different clairs, claircognizance, clairaudience. So it'd be like, okay, well, I really want more clear knowing. I'd love to be able to do mediumship. Like that really, interests me. Like if I could do channeling. So it's like whatever it is in the
okay, I see what you're
spectrums
saying. Okay.
of psychic abilities. It's like, where do you feel like, oh, I'd like to really improve upon that. And if it's like, I want to just be more clear with my receiving when I'm talking to my guardian angels, and that's what it is. It's very, very unique to whatever it may be for each individual.
Okay.
What
Jeanette,
question was that?
I left that question blank too, Jeanette. That was one I didn't answer. Just so you know, I hadn't answered that one
What
either.
question was that one? The number?
Uh,
I don't have numbers, but it's on
Oh,
page
I
15.
guess I
page
numbered mine.
15.
Huh?
Page 15.
Yeah, the last page.
Oh.
Like the third to the last.
I don't know why I didn't have that listed. I mean, I wrote my questions out on Word document.
Yeah,
Ah,
if
Sorry.
it's if you did put, yeah, I was not guided to put numbers. So if you did do numbers, it'd be number 20. So I have this journal, so I did all mine and I wrote them all in this journal. So yeah, it is, I want to grow in my psychic abilities in
Oh,
these ways. So I'll tell you how I answered it. I said work with Merlin more, connecting and channeling more, light beings, ascended masters, more mediumship. That was my answer.
Because you're not there already.
Well, no, but it's like I want to
um,
grow. I want to grow my psychic. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
like these, how I, just improving. I want to, yeah, where I want to focus my psychic. How do I want to grow? I mean, like I said, it's very open ended. It's meant to be that way. So
I
hopefully
definitely
that
missed the
helps.
last page.
And
Oh,
that's
you
where
did?
the astrology, but the thing with the astrology is very complex. It's
astrology.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, I subscribe to the moon omens, and I got a couple of their books now and everything. But it's like I read, I'm like, well, it'll get to me. It'll come and I'll read it, and it'll like, okay, now it makes sense. But I gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, so that one was, yeah, that was number 19. I connect to my astrology and I can make improvements. So this was my answer. I said pay better attention to daily and weekly astrology and be more aware of important transits. That's, to
Yeah, but
me,
they're so
that's a lot.
complicated.
I know that
Huh?
mine
I mean, you hear this girl talking, Nina. I'm like, her monthlies are fine, but sometimes even just like when you get the astrology reports, I don't know if you get them too, Infinity. That
No.
Venus is doing this and in conjunct with this, and then you look at their astrology map too, and I'm like, okay. Again, right now it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. That's the point, yeah.
Right.
My intention that I want
I
to
think
because I do find it very interesting. I do think it's
yeah, there's a couple of apps that really are good with this. For you specifically would be astrology.com or CoStar. I know you have CoStar, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
literally every single day, because it has your birth date and all your information, you just have to go in there and it says exactly what is going on with those with with you on a daily or weekly basis. And I personally, there's times where it's like, oh, I'm going to look into that, but I personally haven't been in the habit of looking at that on a daily basis for myself, and really following that. It's just kind of more generally speaking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's why I said like pay better attention to daily and weekly astrology and be aware of important transits, not just generally, but my personally. So that's how I answered it for myself. Because yeah, it could be so many different things.
overwhelming for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Astrology can
put
be very
anything.
overwhelming.
Yeah, for me, I just said I'm going slow because there's so much to learn, so many
Yeah.
directions to go.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of like for me it's like, okay, so because the question is I connect to my astrology, so it's not just it's your
You're
personal,
my
I
astrology, right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
my astrology. So that's why that was my answer. Pay better attention to my daily and my weekly astrology. So that's personal to me. And it says and can make improvements. Okay, so just to be more aware. So that's taking all astrology and just making it to the self. I don't need to know a bunch of stuff otherwise, and just try. And then after, because I've done this before more diligently, but I kind of got out of it. So I do know that if you do pay attention to your personal astrology in these ways, you're gonna learn astrology. It happens. You'll be like, oh, I remember. Okay, so, and you may have to go back and read again and again and again, because there's so many different facets of stuff with the signs and the houses and the transits and the placements. It's a lot. It's a lot. So that's why I'm fascinated by astrologists that
Yeah.
can, remember all this stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can just process like slices at a time, and then like once I do, it's just poof, it's gone, and I'm like, I don't remember anything. It's taken me years to remember the basics that I have. So, but because it is so tied into our soul story and our lifetimes here and the themes and the archetypes and the time periods and all that, it is important on some level to make it a point to understand that more. So that's why it was part of the spiritual map. Okay, anything else across the board, ladies?
I do have one thing, and I'm actually kind of embarrassed that I couldn't answer this question. So I know I have to dig in deeper. It's the one that says my relationship with Mother Earth Gaia can get closer and stronger and help me develop by. I was just blank. That's pretty bad.
um
The part with
well,
help me with, that's the part I'm confused about. I mean, I know that she's helped with the healing and stuff, but I need to connect with her to be able to answer this question.
yeah, well, I think that that's probably your answer right there is I need to cultivate more of a relationship on a regular basis by
Yeah.
seeking her out, and if it helps to, I mean, there's so many different ways to go about that. But it's definitely, I mean, the cheat code is nature, of course, animals, of course. You just, by you playing with your cat or your dog, connect with Gaia in those moments. Like call her in and talk to her as you're connecting with your animals or you're going through,
See,
like
yeah, I
like
do that, but
and
I get so distracted so easily. So I can be talking to her mid-sentence and then I'm talking to the birds and I'm doing something else and then I forget to talk to her.
yeah,
So
but here's the thing is like she is all of that. So she is the bird, she is the wind, she is the she is the leaf, she is the ant, she is all of it.
I talk
So
to all of them.
yeah, so there
And the
you go.
tree,
I
and I
think
hug the tree in the park, and everyone's staring at me, and I don't care.
okay, perfect. So I think that you're, maybe you're just kind of compartmentalizing your way of thinking of how you connect with her and
Okay.
what you're consciously doing because you're doing it. You're just categorizing it in a different way and maybe not,
Okay.
kind of crossing over. So like, build a bridge there and then just, tie her into all the things that you're already doing in a more conscious way. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like I don't know why, but like the wedding, the veil of your wedding dress. So
Yeah.
she's the tail, even though I know that doesn't make any sense, but that's how I kind of visualize it in my head. Okay, but I get what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. Just like recognize, just be like, oh, this is, wait, sorry. This is very distracting. There's a cat that's just nonstop.
That
Hey,
what are you
pretty,
listening to? I thought it was all the time. I'm like, is there a cat out there? That's in your house.
no, I'm trying to ignore
I
the
keep hearing a
cat
meow.
because it's nonsensical. So, but he's not stopping. You need to stop. Seriously. God, they're so bitchy. Seriously.
You
Sorry.
look like you're
So,
talking to a grown up because you're like looking up.
Yeah, she does.
because he's in the tree. I know, right? Because he's in the cat tree right there. Okay, I'll be right back.
That's so funny.
God. Oh, hey,
But
hey, hey.
Hey,
yeah,
Macy's.
I went for a
You
hike the other day
need
for three
to
and a half
stop.
hours
You need to
um,
stop.
out in the woods.
Ah, that's awesome.
But like even just looking, I don't know if you live near a river or the lake or the ocean or anything, like even just looking at that for, even if you just glance at something and say, wow, that's really pretty, you're doing it, you're connecting with Gaia.
See, I never thought of that way, but it makes complete sense. So then I'm always connecting with her every day, all day. I'm obsessed with birds. Like I sit there and I
Yeah.
stare at them. I talk to them.
Ah,
Yeah.
I know what
That's interesting.
happened. Pretty boy got out. That's why he's growling like that. Now I've understood
Uh,
the situation.
What time zone are you girls in?
I'm with
Eastern.
you.
Oh,
Eastern?
Yeah, I think we're all at 10. It's almost, what, 10:18, 10:20.
yeah.
Yeah, we're the same.
Sorry, guys. Now I understood what happened because he doesn't usually do that, and it's because Pretty Boy made his way out of the bedroom, and that's what that was about. And I guess I didn't shut my door all the way. He literally broke out. Pretty Boy broke out of my house right now. I can't. What I can't. But yeah, I was listening to what you guys were saying. Yes, Vanessa, all of that you do and what you guys are talking about with Gaia, that is all connecting with Gaia. But again, that's kind of like a unconscious connecting. So it's doing those same things consciously, talking to Gaia. So the same way like you direct your thoughts to guardian angel, direct thoughts to Gaia and talk to her through your connection with nature, with the birds, with all of it. And you'll the more that you do that, especially with, because again, spirit animals, just to tie it into spirit animals is Gaia's way to communicate with us through, she is the animals. She is. So if you think of all the animal kingdom as pieces and pieces of Gaia and the way that she uses, if you will, a lion versus a bear versus a tiger versus a cat or a dog or a butterfly or a bee, each have a very distinct personality and story and way of living and communicating and relating to one another. And so when she wants to um, teach us in certain ways, she uses the animals to reflect what messages and what stories and what advice or support or whatever that she wants to give us through the animals. So, because people are used to seeing animals and they understand how animals work and live and relate and all that. So they can do, so it's easy. It's like one of the easiest ways for people who are getting into everything is like, oh, animals are real. The dogs really exist. Elephants really exist. So if that's like spirit and that's energy and that's and that's to teach me something, I can relate to that versus like an angel or a dragon or a unicorn. That's harder to, for some people to understand and to grasp. So you can reverse engineer that and be like, so if the trees and the bees and the whatever animals are her in nature, her expression in nature, and we see the birds, we see the squirrel, we like, for me it's like, that's why I'm like constantly like, it's just an abundance of animals and nature all over the place. And that is one of the ways that I connect with Gaia. And that is one of the ways that she, brings me joy, is to bring me animals to connect with her with. It's just, it's a very easy thing to do.
You're
So
gonna make
as
me
you're
cry. So
so
much
as
love,
you're
yeah.
observing the birds and the squirrels and they're running around and they're doing their thing and they're making you laugh and you're having a good time, just have this conscious connection to, Gaia bringing you all of that. And Gaia, that you're like, oh, I love you, Gaia, so much for, that's what I say. I don't have like hardcore conversations in those moments, to be honest with you. They're not super deep. It's just, I feel you. I love you. I feel you through these animals and through nature and the elements or whatever it is that you're experiencing, because she's in all of that. And to just really, have that consciously is one of the ways to better connect with her anyway.
Thank you for clarifying that for me. I really appreciate it. That makes
You're
a lot of
very, very
sense.
welcome. You're very welcome. Was there anything else from anybody about any observations or comments or questions? Any other questions about this or where you're at? Or general, I guess, statements about the first week, the map, or anything? Um, any of that business? No?
There, there are two things that pop to mind, but I don't really know. So the first thing is, I know I need to connect with my ancestors, but I'm scared to do so. And I don't know if that's just something that I have to work through during my shadow process or whatever. But there's a reason behind why I feel that, and I just know that it's something that's very important that I need to do. So that was like sorry, I had another thought, but I forgot. Oh, it was that the one question, and I don't know if I have to wait till the end of the program, but it was the because I feel so scattered, and I know that you said that during these 9 weeks we should just relax and just observe. But oh, you did answer it. You said that after the 9 weeks, after you've observed and everything comes to play, you'll know exactly which direction to go and what to focus on, right? That's basically you answered it. Okay, sorry. I'm just
Well, there's definitely going to be like a lot more clarity on where, like, what's highlighted for you as far as what needs, what your next steps on to work on, as far as clearing, healing, transmuting, acknowledging, celebrating, all of whatever those things are is coming to the surface. So it
okay.
is more about seeing what comes to the surface than actually implementing any action. It's just what is
Okay.
there.
So
If there's some little micro tweaks that you can make along the way in these 9 weeks, great. But nothing major is supposed to be happening right now, other than the assessment of where you're at through these maps.
Okay, because one of the things that also popped to mind, and it kind of reminds me of one of the podcasts that you had a few weeks ago about time. There's not enough hours in a day to do everything that you need to do from a spiritual standpoint, from cleaning yourself,
Yeah.
protecting yourself, shielding yourself multiple times a day, meditating, connect. Like, it's just like, how the hell does Infinity do it? Yeah, Infinity, how do you do it?
And have a job or
Um,
Yeah, and have
well,
a job and kids and
kids.
husbands.
yeah. Yeah, no, there's definitely that's exactly it, is that it's this kind of will help you boil down into what's really important to work to prioritize for yourself. And that's not going to be this, everybody's going to have a different answer. And when you, if you do this soul quest today and these 9 weeks, and then you redo it again in 2 years, you're going to have a different answer then. It's always,
Yeah.
it's going to change, for sure. And this is about kind of knowing like where getting to, okay, let's take all of it, and then see what keeps rising to the top again and again and again. And then you're going to have your 2 or 3 or 4 themes of this. These are the cogs of the wheels of that I'm supposed to pay attention to when it comes to elevating myself, healing myself, evolving myself, tapping into my creational beingness, being connected with my soul and all of that. Because trust me, our souls don't want us with 25 things on the table. They don't. That's why they want us to figure this out so we can have max maybe 5 things on the table, very clearly defined to focus on in different aspects of our life. Most likely is what we're going to see pop up. And I think right now it's just about having the patience, because we're all doers. We're all really big on doing stuff, not just observing. And that's probably the hardest part. And I think, there's some place in here that I wrote that in my map. I was like, let me see if I can find it. Um, make sure which one it was. Sorry, 1 second. Where is it? Okay, so oh god, it's so much longer than I thought. But fuck it, I'm gonna read it all. Okay, it says, so it's number 13. When it comes to my spiritual, when it comes to my spirit, because it's like, why I'm not gonna, yeah. When it comes to my spirituality, I want to evolve in these ways in the next year. I said, I feel like I'm at a leveling up stage of separating more ego from the spiritual, wanting to soul connect, so I am fully supported with my next moves. I just want clarity on how and what I'm doing, pursuing. I want to move from here. I feel that's tied in. I know it is. Feeling pulled in different directions now that I more than I have been. Uh like with the glass beings and the programs and the stories, because there's been so much coming through. I think um I'm just not sure. I just have a lot of questions about what I should be doing moving forward, and I'm being reminded that the soul quest will help. And I
That's
wrote
awesome.
that myself right there, because I'm like, I have a lot of questions too. Like, where
there's so many directions I could go, and I want clarity. And then it was like, yeah, and that's exactly why you're doing this, to get that
Yeah.
clarity as to where you're supposed to be focusing on from here forward. So
Um,
you just have to slow your roll. And this is more like, we've been in the car, we're going, and then it's like we're at the stage now where it's like we need to pull over and really assess, like, okay, but where am I going from here? And instead of, how people just go, well, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm driving anyway. And you're like, wait, you may be going in the wrong direction. They're like,
yeah.
I know, but I just can't, I can't just stop, try to figure it out by a map or to ask somebody for help because I'm too busy going. And this is where we're supposed to be pulled over and getting the clarity before we put it in drive and continue on. And again, like I was saying, that's hard for us doers because we're used to moving and going and producing and all of that stuff. And it's like when we're at a leveling up stage, it's not about that production and that doing. It's about assessing and planning. And right now, we're not even at the planning stage. We're just assessing where we're at and really what's coming up for us. Not like what we think we should do, what we've done in the past, or any of those things. It's where we're at now and what's coming up for us now. And give ourselves, it's not that long. It's just 2 months. You know what I mean? It's
Yes,
just
ma'am.
2 months of forcing us to not have a straight plan and just to see what we get with ourselves. And and um and yeah, it's just kind of like, all right, that's what I'm doing. Okay, like we just have to remember, okay, but I'm doing that. I am doing that. I am doing the work that's going to make me as efficient as I possibly can moving forward. That's the work that I'm doing. I am being productive. It's a different type of
Yeah.
productive, though, than we're used to, right? So it's just understanding that first off. Um, and it's kind of like the athlete that's always working out. They're always running. They're always lifting weights. They're always in the gym. They're always doing stuff. But also them being productive is to go and get physical therapy and to get a massage and to sit in the sauna. That's also very productive for an athlete, even if it doesn't look like it necessarily. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're doing the other kind of stuff right now. So hopefully that helps. Um,
Yeah.
Lastly, I want to share this. This is, where was it? This is the last question. It says, so far, my spiritual awakening can be described as, another really open ended one that is like, oh
Yeah.
boy, right? So this is what I wrote. I said, miraculous, magical, impossible, hard, scary, lonely, frustrating, exciting, motivating, inspiring, confusing, validating, abundant, hopeful, and loving.
That's
And that
perfect.
was,
Yeah, it is.
because I'm like, I could
Yes.
write chapters on this, but I'm just gonna be as concise as I can with all of, how can it can be described as, yeah, that was, to me, that's me being really real and honest about it. It's all of those things. It's scary and frustrating and lonely
And
and
lonely.
miraculous and not. Yeah, it's all those things. And
Yeah.
hopefully a little less lonely for us as we, do these types of things. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be so lonely. But I think acknowledging
Just
that
be
sometimes no matter
us.
what, yeah, but
It
no
just be
matter what,
us.
what'd you say?
I said it could just be us only. There's
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
else that's
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I think it's really important to say, even though I have soul family and there's wonderful people that are doing the same, same thing or very similar to me in this journey, and even though I have a guardian angel and all the troops and the legions of beautiful support and Gaia and everybody, sometimes it is lonely, and that's okay. It's we have to. It is, um, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just is, it's there's and hopefully that loneliness feeling just becomes less and less and less, and it's not the biggest thing, because I think for a lot of us, that's we start off, or we've lived most of our lives in a lonely state of being, because we've been so kind of different and isolated and weird in our experiences, that even if we're integrated in society and have families and stuff, we can still feel very, very lonely in our experience. And then we go through a spiritual awakening, and when there's so much change, and it's literally like, who on the planet can relate to this? That's a very, and you come up with zero people, because nobody can understand this wild ride I'm personally on.
Nor no one wants to
And
talk about it. No one wants to talk about it or hear you out. That's where I feel the most loneliest, you know?
yeah, well, because most people can't relate.
They don't
Right.
Um,
understand. What are you saying?
yeah, most people have, and it. So you're like, I can't even talk to, like, who's there to talk to about this stuff? Because it is so unique and different and weird, or spiritual and metaphysical, or however people want to see it, and woo woo or whatever. And, one thing is for sure, though, is that there is a definite shift in that, community, in different pockets, in different ways that are popping up, that we can connect to in here for sure. And but there's other ones as well that remind us that we're actually not alone, and that there's more people. I think that that's an illusion too, thinking, believing that there's people who, most people can't relate, when the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of people who can't, actually. We just are used to not talking about it, and not putting ourselves out there in front of people to talk about it, and so there's nobody to talk to about it. We create that reality where there's no one there that can associate or relate to us. And once we decide, I want to have a thing where I want there to be people to talk to about this. We need each other to talk about this. Like, when it all happened for me, I was going through my spiritual awakening, and at the same time, I was hyper aware how important it was to share that with people, and this whole process of awakening and healing and discovery and remembering and connecting and all this wild shit that was going on in my life. I was like, what? It's like such a wild roller coaster of a ride. You're just like, oh my God. And everybody's just walking around like normal, like nothing's going on. And you're like, holy shit. And then it was like, no, but you need to understand that you're not actually the only one going through this. It's just that there's so many people going through it, and most people are not talking about it. So it needs to be talked about. So all the people that feel so alone and isolated in this experience can understand that they're not. It's just, it's like basically proclaiming to the world, I'm nuts. So nobody wants to go and proclaim to the world how crazy they are, because of the ramifications of that, right? It's like, that's basically what we realize, like, oh, if I just openly talk about this shit, people are going to think I'm nuts. When you're like, but I know, I'm pretty sure that I'm not nuts, but nobody else seems to be having this experience around me. But then if you realize, you know what, maybe more people are having this experience around me, but if nobody's talking about it, how would we know? It's like what I realized maybe now, close to 20 years ago, was that everybody was smoking pot, but nobody was talking about it. And then you'd have to really know people for them to go, oh, you smoke weed? Yeah, I smoke weed too. And then everybody just sit around smoking pot. This is before it was legal. This is before this, when it was not easy to get. And I realized, I was like, oh, this is like, it's just below the surface. You have to be in a pocket of safety for everybody to like relax and talk about it. Now it's so much different, and things like we're doing here really help cultivate that awareness. We're putting out into the world, you're not alone. We go through this. We have our questions. We have our moments. We we get, I get it, what we're doing here individually. And that's been one of my things. It's like, okay, well, since I figured out, no, this isn't just me. There's so many other people, but it's like it's scattered. It's like, you can only see so much with one little candle, and you're like, what's in front of me? It's like, it's so, but if we come together with all our little candles, we can see so much more, as a group. And that was shown to me such a long time ago. It's like you have to, coalesce with others that are going through this experience and teach each other, share with each other, because that's how you continue on this path of moving forward, of evolving, of connecting, of all this magical business that's going on. That's right there, that is almost so impossible to see, but it's critical to our development, to our soul connections, to our destinies, and to our missions and what we're supposed to do. It's absolutely critical. And none of us are meant to do any of that by ourselves. So tying back into the lonely bit, it's like when we it's like this lonely thing, it's like that I wrote that because there was a time that I felt so lonely in this, so very lonely. It's been a long time since I felt that. But it was definitely, the question was, so far my spiritual way can be described as, and that was a big part of it. I have definitely moved away from that. I don't feel lonely like ever anymore, but I did for a while there. And that's something to recognize. And it's not saying that like it never happens, but it's so rare, and it's not like the big thing, because I have done all this work and connected and created to a point where that's not such a big thing for me anymore. And I try to help others not have to, you know, be in that loneliness for themselves. But anyway, I wanted to share that because it was, I think it was it left me feeling um, really, I guess the best word is level and stable. And and like I wasn't just looking at the fun glittery parts of spiritual awakening. I was being really real about it, for myself. And that was like a really big thing. So anyway, I wanted to share that one. But I guess, oh, and there was Leticia couldn't be with us because she's
I
in
know.
Australia.
I was gonna say that you need to give her a little shout out.
Yes, give her a shout out. And she did have a question that she wrote in with, and it was again about dealing with the energy and how to work with her spiritual body and staying motivated about her healing and dealing with energies and that whole thing. um
It's
and
very
there's kind of a
tiring.
lot. Yeah, no, it is
I
tiring. No, it
struggle
is
with that
tiring.
too. Yeah.
I would say there's a couple of things that come up there, because there was a lot, there's a lot there that's really tied into the physical body as well, with her and with what we're dealing with energetically. But there's a couple of things that to keep in mind when it comes to this. Okay, so one is the physical body always has the answer and knows what it needs to feel better, to release energy, and to heal. And I think if we remember that, It's not a mystery. It's a mystery to our conscious understanding. But to our body and to our spiritual body, especially those two bodies, the physical body and the spiritual body, there is not a mystery there. This is why when you come across something, um, whether it's a video or an article, whatever, that they is talking about a situation maybe you have going on with your body or whatever it happens to be, and you were like, oh my God, this right here is something that I need to know or learn or get or do or whatever that it is. And it's that signal that your body is telling you, like, yes, this is it. Your spiritual body, your intuition going, yes, this is it. Whatever that may be. Because again, the physical body always knows what it needs at any given point. If you, as the conscious person who's not processing or listening or doing what the physical body wants, you can't even understand the language that it's speaking, maybe because you're in such distress that it's hard to understand any language from that point, let alone one that's so subtle. The spiritual body will help you with this to remind you. So if you're in distress physically and you can't communicate effectively directly with your physical body, then you turn to your spiritual body to help realign you, to remind you that the answers are there and that the support is there energetically to help clear the field, number one. Because if you're in distress, if you're in pain, the energy around you is going to be churned up like a tornado, and it's going to be very hard to be clear. So your spiritual counterparts and your spirituality will help clear that field for you. So help me get clear, help me transmute energy around me, the irritated, frustrated, angry, in pain energy that I'm feeling. So that's like step number one. Let's connect with my guides and my guardians, my light gate if I have it, which we all do here, connecting with the light gate, calling in your high level support, whether it's Merlin or Michael or Metatron or Gabriel or any of us there, bring us in, and then ask to clear that field. So then let's get into the body. What does the body need? And feeling into that. What came through specifically for you, Leticia, was whatever that there's whatever medicine is being given to the body, there needs to be more. And I know that that's vague, but I think that there needs to be adjustments. You have to think about making adjustments for what's going on. So it's kind of like, a ship at sea is going to be dealing with itself differently during calm waters versus a storm. And if you don't make those adjustments, you're going to have problems. So this is about making those adjustments. And then lastly, specifically for you, Leticia, to go back and maybe rewatch that last meeting that we had, because there was a very specific regimen for you to follow. I'm not sure if you're able to do that or if you did or whatever else is going on there, but as a reminder of how to go at it mentally and spiritually when you're dealing with the energy that's coming in. Because for her, for most of her life, it was an abundance of the negative energy and her dealing with that. We healed her, we cleared her, and then she leveled up. And then it's an influx of the high vibe energies, like a big influx of light energy that's causing a problem, and that she's having issues trying to keep up with and stay and really just processing. And it's a complete reversal. So a lot of that is mental, is processing that in a mental way, that you see it clearly, that you remember what it is that you're dealing with to begin with, really does help. And hopefully that helps you, Leticia. Does anybody have anything to add to that at all? Nope. Okay. Then I guess that's it, my dears.
Oh, wait, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Can I say something? I don't know if it was this past Friday's video or the one prior, you had said that as you continue on these maps, you'll start to see how the maps talk to each other. When I was filling out the spiritual map, I started feeling I started feeling sad, and I realized I was feeling sad because I don't know why everyone's soul forgets who they are, right? So part of the mission is to remember who you are. And I felt so sad that my soul couldn't remember who I was. And then I realized that my emotional body was tapping into that. My emotional body is sad that my soul can't remember. It was very interesting. That's all.
Well, it's not, well, first off, let's dissect that just a little bit, because it's not that your soul can't remember. Your soul is kind of omnipotent, knows everything about you and remembers everything. It's your conscious human aspect that doesn't remember, that has a hard
Okay.
time. So it's yeah, so it's about, so with us connecting with our soul is kind of like, okay, that's the ultimate, that's the one that our soul is aware of all of it, and in every aspect and dimension. The ultimate for us as an ascending and as an ascending master is to realign with that awareness, with all of that omnipotent understanding of ourselves and everything else that we're connected to. And so it's about kind of pulling off layer by layer that keeps us from that true embodiment and integration with our soul. All the things, all the fears, all the programs, all the ideas and the stories and the experiences and the karma from this lifetime and all the other lifetimes that has us believing in this illusion of separateness with ourselves and our soul and everything else. So these maps help us to say, okay, these are where the literal speed bumps and blocks and walls are in front of us that keeps us from that full integration. And that's how I know that once I work on this and once I work on that, they're just going to like fall away. And then I'll be able to integrate more and more and more with my soul, more clarity, more direction in all of that. But I need to clean up all of this first. So that's what these maps do, is help us see where we need to do the cleanup so we can get
Mhm.
clear. Where are the pains, the fears, the programs, the triggers, and all that stuff that keep us in the lower dimensions, that keep us from rising and being clearer and clearer and clearer and having more and more life force. And then that integration with our soul, that like awareness, that understanding, because everything was like nice and neat and categorized and all perfectly aligned and stuff before we incarnated. We had There's a plan there that's
Mhm.
connected to all these other things. We are just, as a human aspect, being born a baby and then growing up, we're not privy to that. We don't have that awareness, but our soul does. And that's where it's like, let's connect to that, so then we'll know exactly, like, as much as we possibly can, what we're doing here, how we're doing it, why we're doing it, who we're doing it with, and all those other things. So again, it's like it's the your human aspect is the forgetful one. Your soul is the one who knows and remembers everything.
Okay, so I
Does that
have
make
that
sense?
wall that I have. Yeah, okay, that makes complete sense. But I thought it was very interesting how I was feeling sad. But yeah.
Yeah, but that's I think that just illustrates that there is like, you're tethered with your soul no matter what, and it's our kind of conscious understanding of that that makes us feel kind of far away from it. Like, I always have this vision of like us, the human aspect, and then our soul, and then there's this, like, call it 100 foot, cord or rope between, and that's a lot. That's a lot of space. And when we can, shrink that down to, a 1 foot rope between us, then it's 99 steps and layers of the muck and the shit and the stories and the programming and all the stuff that we've cleared to bring us closer to ourselves, our soul. So you feeling that is just kind of feeling this distance. Like there's a distance here between us and a longing to make that distance evaporate basically. And you
Yeah.
seeing like there's kind of a Grand Canyon here that I have to fill in, that I have to, right? And it's,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But you're doing it. I mean, there's nothing else than to do it step by step. And again, it's about being patient with ourselves and nurturing and loving with ourselves, not judgmental, not shameful for what we have or have not done up until now. Just by doing this is huge. It's going to be very, very helpful for us. And one last thing I'd like to say, well, just because it's ringing in my ear, is Vanessa, I really, really uh, highly recommend that you dive in with the spirit walks as well, because I think that those are really gonna help with this entire experience for you. And I just saw that you hadn't done that part of it. So you can
Yeah.
still do it. Definitely not too late I was actually a bit surprised. I'm like, I get it if it was somebody who doesn't know what goes on in the spirit walks, but I was actually pretty surprised that you didn't do that. And we did change it so you can make monthly payments on those too. And if that's any kind of an issue, then that hopefully that helps with that. But I really think that that would help a lot.
Okay.
But of course, it's totally up to you. But just the first one really sets the stage, and you can go back. And what's awesome is that you can use them again and again too, not as
Okay.
much as you need in the future. Okay, so anything else before we go? I know it's all late for you guys there on the East. I'm sure you're tired. So, but I do want to say thank you so much for being here, for doing this, and for opening up and sharing what you have. This is awesome. I love this. It was so great to see you all. And if anything else does come up, again, please, there's the group. Hopefully everybody's getting notified when there's new posts and stuff in there. I'm going to go back. I didn't, there was 2 comments that were left in my post, and I wasn't aware of that until the second one. So I've got to see what's going on with that. But anyway, please.
Are you following the person?
What?
Are you following everyone too?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
following? Okay.
Yeah, I thought I just last night recognized that it was set up, like I had set up the whole, because this is the first one I'm doing on here, like with the website. So I was confused with how I was in there. So now as of yesterday, I'm in there. I just like assumed that since I created it and was all part of this thing, then I went in there. Yes, I was like, nobody's using it. And then I went in there yesterday and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'd seen that a couple of you had posted and I hadn't gotten any of that before, but I'm pretty sure I rectified that. But you can always tag me, tag each other specifically as well. It's with the @ and then the person's name as a member,
No,
and
I
you
know.
should see it highlight.
But when we were doing the forum, I was getting notified all the time because I think we're following each other. Were you getting notified though?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so make sure, actually,
Just got
also, if you
overwhelmed.
go into members, you can make sure that you follow everybody. That
But
will help
you
too.
have
So
like
when
you
anybody
have like a
posts,
few accounts.
what?
Don't you have like a few accounts?
Well, there's like the business account, and then I created like an Infiniti account. So
Yeah.
that's on there now too. So I should be getting all of that, but I'm going to make it a point just to, pop in there on a daily basis just to look at it anyway to make sure that I don't miss anything from here on out. But again, please use the forum. Like if you guys are, if there's another, like if you get to a question that you're like, I'm not sure what this question is or how to answer it, please ask away. And I will do my
Okay.
best to help you out with that sooner than later, or anybody else can jump in too. All right, love. Sounds good. It was
Thank
so good to see
you.
all of you. Thanks
It was
so
so
much.
good to see you.
Nice.
Jeanette,
Same
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
here.
Yes,
Good to
yes.
see you, ladies.
yeah. All right, guys. You have a wonderful rest of your night. And the new map comes out tomorrow. And again, I know it's going to be challenging. Take it step by step. There are a few more questions in the mental map than in the spiritual map. So, but just go through. I suggest go through just go through the entire map, do the spirit walk, and then start doing the work. That's my suggestion to do it. All right, guys. Mwah! I love you.
All right.
Mwah! You guys are
Thank
the best.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye bye.
everybody.
I get out of here.
Bye.
All right, let's
You
get
get us
some
out,
music.
Infinity. Right?
Yeah.
And hello, brother. Who else is here? Nope, it's just us. Okay, cool. All righty. Then we will be saying goodbye to everybody who was, thanks again to everybody who was here with me live. I love you all so much. You're the best. Thanks for sharing and opening up. I really appreciate it. And for those of you who are watching this in the replay, thank you for doing that and for joining the Soul Quest program. We'll see you soon for the next one. All right, guys. Mwah! Bye for now. Bye bye. Let's see if I can close this. Oh, maybe. Oh. End the show. Yeah. Fireside doesn't like to see me go. That's what I've decided. I can't. It won't let me end the show. I just want to end the show. I do end show and nothing. Oh, they like, okay. I'm remembering that. Fireside wanted a screen recording of how this doesn't work. I'm like, okay, I'll try to remember to do a screen recording of this doing what it's doing. See, it's like it's there, and I try to, and I'm hitting end this show, and it doesn't do anything. And that's how it kind of is across the board. I can select things, and it just doesn't respond. Not nothing. I literally can't. It's not letting me do anything. Ay caramba. Yeah, nothing. Oh my goodness gracious, seriously.